my first home was at the ranch down at Balls Ferry, and my brother Tom and I were the only two of all of us that actually started out at the Conn Ranch down by Coleman Fish Hatchery, and that's where Mom was during the war when Dad was off in the Navy in the Battle of Okinawa, and as were all the young men. Mother's two brothers, both one served in the Navy, one served in the Army, and the women were pretty much at home. And my grandmother and my mother, they were actually plowing the fields, right, in the garden next to the house with a mule. And anyway, so Tom and I were both partially raised there until about 45, 46, and then they moved into town. Dad had come home from the war and was restarting Carr-Kennedy law firm at the time. And then they moved into Reading and to our first home, which was at 2020 Olive. The house is no longer there. In fact, later the Sisters of Mercy lived there for a while, the nuns that taught at St. Joseph's School. But from there, as our numbers increased from a couple of babies out at Balls Ferry, all the way up to 9 children, we needed more space and eventually moved over to Sunset Terrace, and then from Sunset Terrace back over to Olive, right near where St. Joseph's Parish was. And both mother and father were pretty active in church and community affairs. I think that's probably my greatest recollection, is how Mother's attitude always for the downtrodden and the people that were sort of, others would sort of look past some of these people and sort of focus on all the important people, not necessarily important things. And she found the gold, I think, in each person's personality, and saw dignity and grace and potential in everybody. And she brought that out probably better than I think I've ever seen anybody do it. And she could do it with a sense of unconditional love. So,
I think that's really succinct. When you're asking us to tell our favorite memory, it's so difficult when someone lived almost a century. And when I look back at how my mother started in life, and she was born in a snowbank in St. Paul, Minnesota, which tells you that this was a woman who knew how to overcome obstacles, who knew how to look at difficult times, and like Pat said, seek out the very best in those around her and create the sunniest disposition possible under sometimes really challenging circumstances. And she would bring out really the best in people around her, because she was always so positive and encouraging. I mean, heavens, she woke us up in the morning singing songs like "There Was a Little Birdie in the Windowsill, cocked up." No, it was a little birdie
with a yellow bill.
With a yellow bill. Hopped up on my windowsill, cocked his little head and said, "You wake up, you sleepyhead." And she said, "Rise up, it's going to be a beautiful day." So she had a way about her that made anyone who came in contact with her feel better, and that even though we may all be facing difficult times, somehow we're going to put one foot in front of the other and move forward and do the best we can with what we've got. And she had simple phrases of wisdom all the way through life, and I don't think at the time when we were children and we were really busy running around, we really grasped the fact until our later years that Mother was a phenomenal teacher, and she was also a very effective communicator, because she was able to clear out all the clutter, focus on simple things that any of us can do that help others, and then in effect help the broader community. So my memories of my mother, as she just made all of us feel better about ourselves, and in the way that she went about doing that, she helped us self-improve all the time, right up until the time that she left us.
Yeah.